Hey everybody, this is Perch. I got a couple mails, so we'll read one real quickly first. It says, thanks, video about MCU Namor. It says, Perch, hey there. Thanks for putting your video out about the MCU Namor. I've already received 2 toxic hater responses to my comment. These folks don't seem to be comic book fans, so they have no clue why comic book fans don't like the MCU Namor. One person, of course, infused race into their comment. I told that person to go to Twitter. Anyway, you should probably brace yourself for the toxic folks from Twitter posting comments on this one. Sigh. If all the Twitter servers crashed into an unrecoverable state, I personally wouldn't be sad about it. Thanks as always for everything you do. Of course, yeah, I wouldn't be sad about it either. Twitter sucks. It's funny on those videos. There's 3 responses that always drive me crazy. So response number 1, you already identified. It's the people who don't really read or don't really listen to the video, don't really pay attention to what's there, and they immediately just go to race. Well, if you don't like it, you must be racist. And again, the video lays out why the entire point in this whole thing, which is, look, if somebody says, "Hey, I don't like Namor," meaning the movie version, he doesn't look like the Namor I know. The response is not always racism because that's not a controversial comment. It isn't the Namor that has been presented to people. Again, if somebody said, "I don't like Namor, stupid Mexican, I hate Mexicans," okay, then absolutely racism applies. Perfect. Yeah, definitely that is a racist comment. But we need to stop with the denying the obvious, which is, hey, this thing that looks different from how the thing has looked forever. And I was totally wrong. I mentioned Namor has been that way from the 60s. No, Namor actually goes further back than that, to the Invaders' time and everything else. He's looked this way for a long time. And by the way, if your argument is in 2022, maybe a muscly Spock-looking character in a green Speedo doesn't fit. Brett Booth weighed in on that video, said the costume design looks awesome in his opinion. Cool, okay? I think that's a valid comment as well. I totally think you can say, muscly Spock green Speedo doesn't work in 2022. Okay, I don't know I agree with that, but I think that's a valid argument you can make. But anyway, it's the people who go immediately to racism. Oh, you don't like this thing that looks completely different from everything you've already known? You must be racist. No, stop with that shit. The other one is the people who do the Perch. What you don't fail to understand is that Walt Disney is a secret, woke organization, Illuminati, trying to gayify all the frogs in the country through their ESG-driven blah, 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 blah. You sound like a fucking moron. Anyway. Sorry, you do. You absolutely fucking do. And don't point me to a website like you see on their website where they talk about diversity and inclusion. Bitch, I don't care about their website. Why do you? Anyway. And then the third comment I say is like, why is Perch always talking about this drama? I can't please everybody. Jesus, shut the fuck up. This is what I healed my voice for, this shit? Anyway. To me, it's really one of those things that is somewhat baffling. And that's, I don't think it's that controversial. I don't think it's that dramatic. I don't think it's that shocking. It's like, take one character that's been around for a long time, change appearance dramatically, people object. I do believe this. So again, are there some people who are racist? Yes, sure. There definitely are. But take the Little Mermaid situation. If they had announced a Little Mermaid that had blonde hair, okay, just red hair to blonde hair, people would have bitched about that. Still white, just blonde hair instead of red. People would have bitched. Maybe not as many. I don't know. Probably not as many. Sure, I'll give you that. But the point here is that the redheaded, hoarder girl is the iconic thing people know. You change that, and people are going to bitch. And look no farther. Disney fans in particular. Christ, anyone makes some minute change to Disney, and they lose their fucking minds. Back in the parks, they would repaint. I remember, they would repaint the Peter Pan characters in the Peter Pan ride, and Peter Pan would the green was off, and you could go on to the Disney message boards, and people are losing their shit over the fact that Peter Pan's costume is a darker shade of green. This is what people are like. If you're saying that people are maybe a little bit, need to let go, just let it go, follow a Disney song. or that maybe they're a little crazy, I think, you can get behind that argument. But always, you can't always turn to racism. Or, I mean, you can, but you're a dick if you do that. Anyway, so here comes another mail. Anyway, as long as we're going, this is like a video of craziness. So we go into that one. We go to this one. Where are the bears? All right. Hey, Perch, brace yourself for a strange email. Okay, I'm bracing. I still don't think that I'm going to get an email more weird and troubling to read than the one that wanted Superman to turn into a violent rapist. But okay. So there's been a lot of talk and hubbub over gay representation in comics and other media. Putting that aside, I just want to know why they're all pretty much the same archetype or stereotype of gay. Where are the bears? Ever seen American Pie 3? Of all the movies, of all the cinema to point to over a bear character, American Pie 3. You went with American Pie 3. It's kind of like saying, if we're going to portray somebody, marijuana use in movies, look no further than Scary Movie 4. I'm just kidding. Anyway, yes, American Pie 3. I'll be damned if the gay guy wasn't the single best thing in that movie. Yeah, probably, actually. Loved him. Part of why I loved him is he's a pretty normal guy, just knows how to have fun and shoot the shit. Okay? If I recall, he barely mentions his sexuality. He just becomes one of the bros. Provides some strippers, has a dance-off, helps with the wedding. The strippers part is probably toxic today. Probably. Are modern creators afraid of that kind of gay? Is there some stereotype we don't know about that bears and more manly guys are right-wing or something? Because a lot of gay guys are just normal. They don't mention being gay. Contrary to how it may seem in this mail, I am not myself gay. But since I like the way this person's writing the mail. Anyway, but since gays are in comics, give us diversity of gays. Damn it, give us more midnighters, guys who are gay but will also beat the ever-loving fuck out of a villain, Batman style. I read some of these comics and it honestly feels homophobic the way some of the characters are written. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So there is a lack of diversity in the way that LGBTQ characters are portrayed. I think it's true. I think that, and why? I think that a lot of the people who are writing this stuff, who are writing the comics and writing gay characters in the comics, are writing them based on friends they have, who I don't know. That's my guess, because it doesn't represent. It rarely represents kind of just your average gay guy. And it kind of goes to other males that we've read at different times where, like, way back, there's a video about a woman who wanted to have a lesbian superhero, but wanted the superhero to just do superhero shit and not actually have a relationship. Like, they could mention that, like, she's dating another woman, and then, like, go ahead and go 6-7 issues later before it, returns to that, because the comic that they want, this writer wanted, was, a badass superhero book of the character doing badass things. So I think that that's fair. I think that that's, I do think that's a problem in comics right now, because there is it's like there's got to be one type of character, and it's not just, it's kind of any diversity tends to be the same. I know several people who are Native American, and they do not all, like, go home to the res, drive a pickup truck, and have a medicine man father. But damn it, if in comics, like, they all, like, they go back to the res, and they've got a pickup truck, and they are, they're like, oh, my father is a shaman, and my aunt is making mutton stew, and all, like, a lot of, like, Navajo Apache hate mutton. Like they hate that shit, fry bread. But the comics, I mean, it's true with everything. It's like there's one type of gay character, there's one type of Native American character. There's one, and it really does. The problem is, when I read this stuff, I have kind of the same reaction as this writer does, where it feels like I ask myself, like, is this comic feel super racist? It's how it feels sometimes, and it's purely just just this kind of the nature of these comics that come across as super stereotypical. I mean, they're like it's a parody of what the what an Indian looks is like, or what a Mexican is like, or what a Hispanic. It's just like it's a parody. It's kind of like when an Asian character is written in comics. Half the time, they've got to like the Asian character is like super like stressed about homework, and the parents like beating the shit out of them. So like, you've got to get good grades, so you can be a doctor. And it's like this is how a very cringy, very poorly produced, um, a movie like a comedy movie that was using using different races. That this is how they would write it. They would make it like this, and so it always comes across like super awkward to me. And I think that comics, yeah, I mean comics definitely have that feel to it. So anyway, that's my take anyway. I don't know. I think it's a problem, but it is a shame because comics, when done well, are often pretty brilliant in how they can portray people, how they can actually capture, diversity. It's funny. I mean, comics can do a lot, but and quite frankly, I think that's part of the reason why some of this stuff gets rejected, or why people struggle with it, because it feels like it feels like a poor, like very crudely done stereotype. Just feels it doesn't feel thoughtful. I don't know. That's kind of it is a problem. So I think you're identifying something real. I think people would like the comics better. I think a lot of the D&I kind of diversity efforts that go on in comics would be a lot more successful if they actually made an attempt to create you know more well-rounded personalities and diversity in the diversity. And I think that when they do that, when they have kind of very different characters with unique personalities, it tends to work. I think it feels like a breath of fresh air. People get into the comic and they like the character, and a lot of those characters become fan favorites. You mentioned Midnighter. Midnighter is a fan favorite. DC doesn't do nearly enough with him. I mean, he showed up in this Superman book, which was great, but not nearly enough. I mean, I do think that Midnighter, and they had the comic for a little while, Midnighter could be a solo book and probably do reasonably well. It's the character's interesting, has a unique power set, kind of scratch that Punisher type itch in some cases. I think it'd be great. So let's see it. Marvel and DC, Indie Comics, come on, give us the bears, as they say. Anyway, let me know what you think of all these topics in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, as always. And thanks for listening.